Okay, so it's recording. Good. Anyone who's coming, I would suggest please turn off your mic. You can keep your video on, that's not a problem, but turn off your mic, please. Just turn off the audio. Hey guys, if you can see, one second, screen share. If you can see, this guy is Orko. He's the probably the youngest here. He's how old are you, Orko?
I'm 13.
Yeah, so he's 13 years old. He's my youngest student, and he's pretty good in Blender. Actually, he's even better than me. But yeah, so he's my youngest student of all time. I could say that. So thank you guys for coming in, and I would like to let you know what the session is about. So this is about how we can animate in Blender. Basically, I'm gonna run cycle in Blender. So if you could look at your screens. So we're looking something for an output, which is this one. So this is the output that we're looking at. After this session, I'm sure that people will be able to at least get an idea of how to make something like this in Blender. People who are already here who are working on some other 3D software like Maya or Max or like Cinema 4D, whatever you know, or even Blender for that matter, people might already be working on Blender here. For them also, it is just going to be like a workflow that I use to make things like this and tell you a little shortcuts that I've found out during my time exploring Blender. So that is going to be the session. I think the time is, yeah, it's already 4. So let's just start off with the session. So this is that. So you guys saw the output. That was the output that we're all this is all the output that you guys will be able to make. So when you open up Blender, first of all, you can download Blender from blender.org. For the people who don't know, Blender is a free software, and nobody can claim rights on your work as of now. That's what their privacy suggests. So terms and conditions. So Blender, you go here, click here. This is the latest Blender that is available for people. You can also go for the alpha version or the test version, which will be a new version out there. So you can get that, or you can become like a Patreon for Blender. You can donate the money, and then you will get the latest whatever is there for software for Blender. You will get early access to it. That's how it works. So it's free, but you can donate money to get a little bit edge over other people. So download Blender from here. It's pretty straightforward. Just click here. An option box will open if you want to download it. And then you can save your file and just install it. That's how it works. It's some 128 MB in total, and once expanded, maybe probably go up a bit, but that's all it takes. So it's a very light software, and it has tons of features. You just go to Blender. When you open Blender, you'll get something like this. This is the default interface of Blender. So I've turned on the screen, the key capture over here, so you can see which am I using, and I can also, yeah, so I can also say it out loud for you guys. Sorry, let me just bring that down. So to tumble around Blender, we're going to use our middle mouse button. So if you use your middle mouse button, you can tumble around. And if you use control and middle mouse button, you can zoom in, zoom out, or you can use your mouse wheel. I'm using a pen tablet, so for me, it's control and middle mouse button all the time. So if you are using a mouse, you can use your scroll wheel, so you can scroll around to zoom in and zoom out. Then you have your shift plus middle mouse button, which we can pan. So these are the three options basically for navigation that are needed. So you have your tumble, you have your pan, and then you have your zoom in, zoom out. So middle mouse button to tumble, control middle mouse button to zoom in, zoom out, and shift middle mouse button to pan around. It's pretty simple, you know, but if you think that you're not getting used to this because you've been working in some other software till now, just let it give it some time. Okay, I would suggest that always keep the options that are very native to the software, because if you try to change it, then other shortcuts get affected. So for example, if you've been working in Maya and you're used to alt and middle mouse button and alt and left click and all that stuff, you can do the same thing here, but it'll mess up the other shortcuts that might come in handy later. So I would suggest that keep this one, and this is your navigation done. And now we're gonna see how we can move objects around. So when you open Blender, it'll come with this box. It is default. They just give you a box, like like you have a box over there. So what we can do is, if you press the button G for grab. So that's exactly what it does. It grabs the object, and you don't have to click anything. You just have to move your mouse around, and it will take the object anywhere you want. And once you took it to the desired place, just left click and release it. So once you left click and release it, you commit over there. So that's how you do it. In other softwares, you just move it around, and like if you leave it, it will stay there. But in Blender, you'll have to commit to the place where you are going to drop it. So G to move around and drop it where you want. Likewise, if you press G and then you press middle mouse button, you will get these axes with which you can lock around. So if you press G and middle mouse, then you can decide, like I want to go up axis or Y axis or Z axis. And then once you are decided enough, let go of your middle mouse button, and then you will only get that axis where it will move around. So you have a little bit of control over there. You won't just go in 3D space. So if I wanted this middle mouse button, I wanted to go up axis, Z axis over there, I let my mouse go, and then like wherever I find it, I just left click and release that. So that is one way to move. And another way to move is, if you look over here, you have these options over here. That is move, rotate, and scale. So if you click over here, you'll get the manipulators. So you can move like this as well. So if you're not used to, say, if you're like me, I don't like, while animating, I don't like to use G and move around, because it's very uncertain and not precise. If you want a precise movement, then you can use X axis and Z axis, Y axis, like that. Similarly, for rotate, you can press the button R for rotation. So this will do the same thing. It will, like give you rotation in all axes. It will be totally free rotation. And if you want, you can use the middle mouse button to decide an axis, and it will only turn in that axis. And if this is complicated, obviously we have the option over here with which we can rotate, with manipulators over here. And to change the axes, like we have in Maya, we have global, local, gimbal, and everything. If you go to the top, there's this option called, defaultly will be in global. Just go make it local if you want, and then you'll see that your axes will now be according to local rotation. If you want it to be global, just go click here, and your axis now is in global rotation. So that is something that you can do. Similarly with scale, you can use this option for scaling. You can use manipulators in single angles and all that stuff. Or you can press S for scaling. If you press S for scale, you can scale the whole object with the help of this thing. And then once the object is in desired, say desired size, just left click and let it be. So now it is fixed over there. Control Z is the option for undo, like all softwares. That is one thing that is common in this one as well. So you can Control Z. And one more thing that I wanted to show you was, in this case, if you are, like for example, you have a lot of objects. If I press Shift A, I'll get this add menu over here, wherever my mouse is. So this is the add menu that I want. So I press Shift A and I get this. So I'll have mesh over here. I'll add multiple meshes. So for example, I'll add a sphere, I'll add a cube, you know, so I have like multiple objects sitting around. So if I have to zoom into one object, like for example, I have a lot of objects in my viewport, and I want to zoom in on one. I'll have to click on it and press the uh, dot or the period button on the numpad, that is the full stop or decimal point on the numpad. If I do that, then it will focus on this one, whichever you select. So if we zoom out, I want this one to be my focus of attention. I'll press the numpad period button, and then you have it over here. All right. So, and now we're going to talk about this thing over here. This is a 3D cursor. So what 3D cursor does is it decides where the object is going to be originating from. For example, right now it's on the grid. So all the objects I'm making are on grid. So if I do shift plus right click, your 3D cursor moves here. Okay. Now if I add any object, say cube, now it will form over here. So wherever you have your 3D cursor is where your objects will originate from. And also you can use that. If you go to your view over here, if you have nothing over here, press N for night, press N, and you will see over here you have something called view. Just say lock to 3D cursor. Okay. Now wherever your 3D cursor is, that is where your focus of attention will be of the camera. So if I press, if I zoom in, shift, you know, like pan around, and you know, like shift the camera, whatever I do will happen as this as the center. If I don't want this, if I want it here, only I need to do is shift right click, and now the camera is locked over here. So if I zoom in, zoom out, you can see that the zoom in, zoom out is happening from here. So this is one of the advantages of 3D cursor. And we can lock over here. So you have a control. You have a certain control. If you're lost somewhere, for example, I'm zoomed out, I'm looking somewhere else. So what I can do is I can quickly get my 3D cursor over here, and then I can press say numpad period to selected object, or I can zoom in and then, you know, like rotate from there. So this is one of the advantages. Now I think the basic is clear, but if it's not, then we always have a Q&A session at the end. You can always ask me questions then. Also keep in mind that I'm recording this session, and I will be posting this on YouTube, or edit it a bit and post it on YouTube or LinkedIn. So you can go back and, you know, like kind of look at it later. So if you're, you know, in a doubt or something. So we have this out of our way over here. So let's just go ahead and create a new scene. If you go to file, you can go to new, you have something called general. Just click on that. Don't save, you get a new folder. So from layout, if you go to animation tab, you will get something. Sorry. Dinesh?
Yes.
Yeah, just turn off your mic, Dinesh. Yeah, excellent. So this is the, if you go to animation tab, this is how your animation tab will open up. So you have a camera view over here. You will have say a perspective view over here, and then you'll have your timeline over here. This is how the animation tab opens up. Because as you can see, there are a lot of texturing, UV editing, sculpting, modeling. They have given a tab, and each tab opens up something relevant to that process. So if modeling is like this, and sculpting, UV editing will be like this, your UV editor will come over here and your perspective will be here. Similarly, if you go to animation, this is what you will find out. So what we can do is, right now it is on dope sheet over here, okay? So what we can do is we can go over here. When you see this small plus sign, I don't know if you can see it, there's a small plus sign that's coming up. So if you click and drag, you can split the screen in two, okay? And you can keep one as dope sheet, and you can click over here and make one as graph editor. So you can move your keys here and you can manipulate your graph from here. That is totally up to you. If you want single channel, you can go over here and change it from time to time. I use this because it's convenient for me to move keys from in dope sheet and change the graph editor from graphs from graph editor over here. This is what I'd like to do. So let me just now tell you how to import a rig. So we all know, I mean, people who are from Maya background, we understand that there is something called referencing. When you already have, a rig, there are two ways to bring in the rig. One, you can always open the rig, in a file and then start working on it. That is one way to do it. There's another way to do it is to refer the rig. So when you refer the rig from, hey, hi Shweta, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Yeah, Shweta, we'd like you to turn off your mic. Excellent.
Yeah.
So I've taught the basics of Blender, and I'll be putting this video on say LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever. So if you missed something, you can always go back and check out, or you can ask me in the Q&A session later. All right. So I'm going to show you two methods of importing rig into your file. Okay. The first method would be append. So to import any object, any blend file, if you have something here called import as well, that is for importing like motion capture data for FBX format, all that stuff. But if you want to import a Blender file, then you have to do append. Once you do that, just go to wherever your rig is. Okay. If this is my rig over here, I'll just click on it and go to collection and select this. So say robot. And now I have my rig over here. Sorry. So I have my rig over here. And if you want to animate it, you cannot animate it as you just get it, because there's a slightly difference between Blender and Maya in this manner. So if you have this, let me just move this out of the way. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a proxy out of it. Sorry, you will go to pose mode and then you're going to change it. So for example, if this is an object mode, you'll have to select all the controllers and go to, I don't know where pose mode is. 1 second. Yeah, if you select the robot rig control over here in your outliner or whatever is this thing called in Blender, I'm not very technical about the names because I am just, started doing Blender 6 months ago, as opposed to how I've been doing Maya for years. So if you click on your robot control rig over here, this is specifically for this rig. There will be a lot of rigs in the market and they'll all have a certain different set of it, but they always come with a tutorial of whosoever made the rig. So you can always go and check out their tutorial first. So click on robot rig and go to from here object mode to pose mode. Once you go to pose mode, now you can change your animation. Now you can animate it. You can say move it around. Sorry. You can move around your rig and do whatever with it. But once you import in this way, once you go to file and append, that rig is now permanently inside your Blender file. Okay, that's like importing a Maya rig, or that's like opening up a Maya rig and directly start working on it. And as professional animators, we don't do that. We refer something from a file so that if we make changes into rig later, that does not affect our animation at all. Okay, or it gets animated in our, it gets updated in our rig. So we're gonna go ahead, open a new file, general, don't save, obviously. And I'm gonna go and link a rig. So as we have reference in Maya, we have same thing called link over here. So if you click on link, obviously it will ask you where do you want to import. From the same place, go to your rig collection and get to collection and get the robot. All right, I will show you where you can download this rig from later. So don't worry, suddenly if you see a lot of rigs coming up and all that stuff, I'll tell you where you can download this from. So similarly, this thing will get linked to your Maya scene over here. Sorry, your Blender file over here. Now what you'll have to do is, before we can go into the pose mode and start animating, we have to do something that is called make it a proxy. Okay. So select your robot rig. Okay. And I'm sorry. And go to object, say relations, make proxy. Okay. Go to object over here on top, make go to relations and say make proxy, and select the robot rig control over here. So once you do that, now it has become a proxy. That is, now it has become animatable. So if you select on the robot proxy over here and go to pose mode, now you can go into pose mode and start animating. That's all you need to do. So this is all you need to do. Now you can start animating. All right. So what I'm going to do is say select everything and show you how you can key something. Okay. That will be in the next file that I'm going to show you. Okay, so we have a default Blender now. I don't want you to, I don't want to show how to, like key or move or things, in a very complicated rig at first. Let me just teach you with the box how we can do that. Go to Shift A, Mesh, and we have our cube over here. So let me turn this on. Yeah, so you can see what I'm using over here. So to set a key in Maya, in Blender, we have to press I. So when we press I, we get these options, insert keyframe menu. So you want location, rotation, scaling, or the combination of them. So I want to use location and rotation. So I'll use this one, location and rotate. Once I do that, you can see that this changes color. Let me control Z and show it to you again. If I click on I and go to locate and rotate, you will see that this gets highlighted. That means we have, and in dope sheet, we've got this, that is, it's now keyed. This object is now keyed in location and rotation both. Okay. So if I go to say frame number 5 and I want to move it, before I do that, I need to turn on my auto key, because this will be defaultly turned off for you people. You will have to go and manually turn it on. Okay. So turn on your auto key and now you're ready to animate. So I press say G for grab and I move my object over here. Or similarly, I can use this to create manipulators and then move it around. All right. So now if I scrub through my timeline, now this thing is animated. All right. Let's do the same thing with rotation as well. We've already keyed rotation over here. Go to our end frame and rotate it wherever you want to or however you want to. All right. And now you see that the animation is there. Now the box is moving as well as rotating. All right. So that's how simply you can animate in Blender. So this is a very simple animation. Let me show you how you can offset your keys. So you have this over here. This is your dope sheet. So if you select the top node, that means all the selections, all the keys will be selected. Press G to grab and move it around. In that way, you can increase the timing. All right. And similarly, you can squeeze it. And if you want to insert a keyframe in between, all you have to do is press I and say all channels. Once you press I in the dope sheet or in the graph editor, it will ask you if you want to keyframe for only selective or all channels. Just usually give it all channels. Okay, all channels, and you have a new key over here. If you don't want this key, all you have to do is click here and press X. Once you press X, you will get an option of delete keyframe. All right, just simply click on it. So now the key is deleted. So that's all you need to know to put in a key between. I'm sorry, I think I don't have the pro version. So this thing is gonna go to, yeah, it's gonna get shut down in like 10 minutes, I think. Then we can regroup once we restart the meeting again, I guess. So let's not waste time. Let's move on to our file. So what I've done is I've already linked the rig and made a one pose as over here. If you go to your object mode, sorry, if you go to your object mode and you can move your camera. Whatever movement you do in your camera will reflect in the camera view over here. So if you move your camera around, we will move it around here and you can see it happening in your camera view over here. All right, that way you can set your camera. And if you want to import a camera, it's pretty simple. Same control, Shift A, the same option Shift A, and you will have something called camera over here. Just get a new camera if you want. Okay, if you don't have a camera in your scene. That's pretty basic. And if you want to change the, 1 minute, let me just minimize this. Yeah. If you want to change the focal length of the camera, you can go over here. There's an option of small camera over here, and then you can, like change your focal length from here. Right? I've kept it at 50. I want it to be 50 now. So this is the key that this is a pose that I've made already, because we don't have much time. I don't want to waste much of your time by, like posing something from scratch. So I've just made one pose. Don't worry, I'll be doing a lot of posing from here onwards as well. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first decide the timing for this animation. For that, I'll take a small sphere. Probably scale it down. This is too big. Scale it down. And we know that I want my animation to be on this height. All right. So let me just let me just keep it over here to the root. And location, rotation. All right, I've keyed it. Now I want this to be 19 frames. I want this run to be in 19 frames. All right. So I key it back again. So this is going to be my end position, obviously. So I'll just key it again over here. Location and rotation. So this orange bar that is coming on the dope sheet means that there is no difference in values in these two keyframes. They're both the same keyframes. They both have the same value. All right. So we go to frame number 10, which is in the middle. All right. And we will click it over here again. We're going to add a key over here so that, sorry, so that, like this is the middle position. So obviously it's going to do a 3-time up and down for a run. All right. And now we'll see what happens if you put it down at, say, frame number 6. I want the lowest point to be at frame number 6. Okay. And I'm going to select this, Control C. So Control C, sorry, Control C and place it on 15 by, say, Control V. Okay. This is how you can copy paste your keys. Control C and Control V, pretty simple like that. So this is probably going to be my, say, animation. This is probably going to be my timing. I want my animation to be timed somewhat like this. So we'll go into Graph Editor, open the attributes over here, go to Translate Location Z. Okay. Go click Normalize. Once you click Normalize, it will become like, how we press F in Maya. It will fix your graph editor like that. And if you want to zoom in, zoom out, same as you do in Blender, like Control and middle mouse button, and you can zoom in, zoom out your graph over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press V and make this tangent free. All right. What that will do is it will break the tangent. If I press V and click free, all right, it will give me like a nice bouncing ball timing. So that's it. Let me play this. So this is basically how I want my run to be. This is the timing of my run that I want. Okay, excellent. Once we've decided the timing and we've noted down the keys that we have, now we can go into animating it. So let's delete this, get rid of this. Go to pose mode, select your proxy over here, robot proxy. Go to pose mode by control tab. And I'm going to select all the keys, all the controllers, and put the same key on frame number 19 because we need a loop, right? So we need the first keyframe and the last keyframe to be same. So I'm just going to go ahead and press I. Location, rotate, and scale. I'm going to click on all of it. And as you can see the orange bar, that means all the keyframes here are same. Now the interesting thing about Blender is you can make opposing poses without the help of any script. It is already pre-done in Blender. So I'll show you how you can do that. So we all know that in the middle, the pose is going to be opposite. For example, if on first pose, this is the pose of the character, we want in the middle to be completely opposite, right? So what we can do is we can control C, that is copy the keyframe over here and go into the middle of the pose and paste control shift and V. Select everything, control, copy this, control shift and V. Sorry. I'm sorry, there's something hindering the process. Yeah, control the copy the keys. Yeah, if you do control shift V, now you see that the pose has already taken an opposite one. Yeah, so अपने को कुछ नहीं करना है. We don't have to do anything to flip the pose. You just take a pose and for run cycle or walk cycle, because in Maya, if you need it, you have to go to A tools or something to mirror the poses from there to there. Blender, nothing as such. Control shift and V, it will flip it in X-axis. That's pretty simple. But also make sure that it also depends on the rig. If the rigger has done a very good job at rigging it, then only this will work. If he hasn't done proper axis manipulation and all that stuff, this might not work. So please don't come back to me and say, hey, you told me this doesn't work on this rig, because it depends on rig to rig. So whatever rig I have downloaded works fine with that. And we are going to start our animation in that only. So I guess this will work out. So if you can see now, we have an animation that is fairly basic, like pose to pose from here. From here on, we'll start animating. That it's pretty simple as that. So we all know that at frame number 6, we want this to be down. Okay. So obviously, whichever leg was in forward going to be down. So we'll go over here, go to item, make like the translation is 0. Probably make all the rotation as well 0 and figure out why this is in the air. Yes, so we want the leg down on the ground. And we also want the root to go down. We go to global over here, bring it down. We'll do the same thing with posing over here, make it 0. This is the part where I allow you guys to yawn. Okay, if you guys are feeling a bit bored, you can yawn. You have my permission on that one, because watching someone animate is a very very boring job actually. So it's fine if you want. Yes, so where were we? We're going to Yes, this is what we were doing. So we'll arrange this leg now. And we'll give the hands a bit of quick timing. Someone's mic is on.
Nice.
I guess
Nice.
Mulkit, it's yours. Yes, thank you. So as simple as that, once we are done with this pose, which is once we are done with this pose, we are going to do the same. Key everything, let's key all channels. And we're going to copy this, Control C, go to frame number 16, Control Shift V. So this will get flipped again. Okay, so now we check our animation. For playing your animation, you have to press spacebar. I don't know why this is so slow. Maybe because of the screen recording. Yeah. So this is the timing that we've got here over here. Let's add a few more poses and make it into a decent looking run cycle. So I want, like, on frame number 3, I want the leg to already, like, stepped on the ground. So let's go ahead and do that then. So location Z should be 0. The feet should be almost touching the ground. The heel should be on contact. Let's push it a bit. And at this point of time, we don't want the hands to travel too much. What we'll do is we will push them back a bit, so they remain closer to the original pose than to the next pose. All right. So we want them to be, like a bit fast. So we want like zoop, zoop. So I wanted to go them really fast. So for that, we need to hold them in the position for a few frames, like 2 frames before, and then in the transition, they'll go really fast to the next pose. So this is the timing that I want for my, this is the timing that I want for my, for my run cycle. And that's what we're going to give it. So if you see, the hands are not moving much till here, but then suddenly they move a lot. So that will create that, like the snappy animation timing that we want with this one. So on frame number 4, I want this leg to be completely flat on the ground. So on frame number, say 3, it landed on its heel. On frame number 4, I want it to snap onto the ground. So for that, we're going to use this controller that we used and make this 0. Okay. Make sure you keep keying all the controllers. That is like the basic animation stuff we do all the time. All channels should be keyed, except for here where just the heel is coming down. In quit that one. You can also give that also, but we don't want too much of keys in the graph. We want it to be good. So let's deselect this and start working. And since Blender has this awesome feature, we're going to use it and exploit it to the maximum as we can. So I'm going to control copy this. Going to go 2 frame here. We started here from 1, so went to 3. So starting here from 10, we'll go to 12, and we're going to do Control Shift V. That will flip the entire animation from that side to this side. All right. So as you can see, our animation is coming out to be good. On frame number 3, we want this the root to be a little more up. So when he steps, he's still up, but when he goes down, he goes down really low. So that snappy timing will come. And copy the same key, paste it over here, Control V. So now we have a decent run over here. And if you feel that this is slow for you, you cannot make out the timing here, there is a way to take a play blast in Blender. So I'll show you that one right now. So you have it over here. First, go to this printer option over here. There you see this. It's called, one second. It's called the scene dimensions. There's this printer option over here. Go over here, change this to AVI JPEG. It usually comes in PNG format. Change it to like AVI JPEG over here. And make sure your frame rate is 24 FPS over here. Your resolution, you can change it whatever you want it to be. I'm keeping it full HD for now. And quality, you can increase or decrease depending on how fast you want your output to be done. And this is where you're going to save your file. So let me just give it, the path that I want. And give it the name that I want. Say Play Blast. And save it. All right. Now this was to save your file and check its output format. Now where do you take the Play Blast from is here. You go to your camera view. Make sure you're in your camera view, not in your perspective view. Go to your camera view, go to view, and you have this option called Viewport Render Animation. Click on it, and you'll see that it will start taking a Play Blast. We'll wait for it to take a Play Blast. Close this. Once it's done, close it. And your Play Blast is ready over here. Let's play it and see how our animation has come out. So not bad. Obviously, it needs a lot of tweaking, and I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to see it in the same FPS that I am seeing, because this is like an internet thing going on. It will lag it, but it seems to be pretty good. I think that works out fine. And you can obviously go to render mode and get it in render mode as well. So if you go over here, this is the textured mode, all right? Viewport shading. If you go here, this is a cycles render, or EV render of Blender. So this is your say viewport 2.0 in Maya. This is like a very better and advanced version of that. So you can go to this mode and take your output and that as well. This will slow down your PC a bit, but I think you'll be able to make it up once you take the options. For example, let me go over here, view, say viewport render animation once again. This will be a bit slower than what happened last time, but it's just 19 frames of animation that we're doing. I don't think it should take that much time. Excellent. Go over here. Let's check it out. There you go. A decent run cycle. Obviously, you can keep polishing it and polishing it till you get, like the result that you desire, and everybody can work according to their own caliber. So let me just show you Graph Editor quickly, how to, like smooth certain things up in Graph Editor, and then we'll probably move on. So if you see over here, the graph is a little bit, like screwed up. So what we can go is the only animation we have is translate Z-axis over here. So I keep forgetting I have a chair with a backrest. I keep leaning forward and, like screw up my neck all the time. So there is this small issue in Blender that is not in Maya, which Maya users will get irritated. That is, if you select the graph editor, no matter if it's selected or not, it will show all the graphs that's present in the graph editor. That's even if you select it. For example, I've selected translate Z right now, but still here I can see the I can see all the other graphs that are here, and if I accidentally select it, they will get selected. There is no other point. So what I can do is I can select the location Z over here and switch off everything else manually like this. Okay. Or I can do, say, Shift H. If I press Shift H, it will turn off everything else except for the graph that you've selected. Now to bring back whatever you've hidden, the option is Alt H. But for some reason, Alt H doesn't work on my system. It is some sort of bug that I need to get fixed or something. See if it works in your system, all right? If not, then don't blame me. Like a lot of people are facing this problem. So you can manually turn them on, right? And then just work with it. So I know this is not what you expected. You want some sort of solution, but I don't really have one. So let's go over here and see how we can smoothen out the animation. So if you go over here, always you can always do is say press Control M, I guess. No. We can right click. We can go to interpolation mode, make it busier. If you want linear, you can go ahead and click say linear. Everything will turn into linear. All right. And if you want it to be say step mode, press T and go to constant mode, it will become step tangents. And that will be for everything that you do from there onwards. All right. So I want it to be in say smooth mode, that is Bezier mode over here. All right. And now I will manually arrange this a bit. So people who are not from an animation background in this one, I don't see anyone other than Orko over here, Arunava. I don't see anyone who is not from an animation background. So people, I'm assuming that you guys can, you know very well how to arrange your graphs. That is pretty common in our field. So I'll leave that to you guys, not explaining it too much, but this is what you can do. You can click on it and you can use your tangents. Say you can click and drag with your left mouse button, or you can press G and do it hands-free. For example, you don't have to click any button from then onwards. If you press G, it will grab it and you can move it around. And then you'll have to click it. I would say just left click and move it around. That is much better if you ask me, because people like us from Maya background, we tend to, like fall back to the old habits. So that is there. If you want this tangent to break this tangent, you can press V and you can make it free tangent. Okay. Once you made it free, you can move it separately. All right. You can close it in. You can, like extend it or do whatever you want. It won't affect this tangent. Similarly, you can make them aligned. Once you do that, they will join back again. All right. So you have your tangent to be moving along. That's pretty simple there. Click on normalize if you want to see everything, like neatly arranged and focused. And you can use your control shift and middle mouse button or whatever to zoom in, zoom out, or to move it around. Is a simple thing that I've taught you how to zoom in and zoom out in the Blender. The same thing you can do with the graph editor as well. So that is pretty much it for graph editors. If you want to put a cycle on it, then you can, select it. Say go to key over here. You have an option called add F curve modifier. All right. Here you can go to cycles. All right. I don't know why it's not. F curve modifier, cycles. You can add modifier from here also. If you press N, you will get this option box over here. You can go to modifier and add whatever modifier you want. So add modifier, you can add noise if you want. So noise will give you this wavelength form of affection. Sort of graph. You can use this for say handheld cameras. If you have a camera and you give it a noise and you reduce it, like you stretch it out, you play with its, you play with its properties over here, and you can make sure that you get a nice handheld movement of camera and all that stuff. But we don't want it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the close option over here. That will get rid of the cycle, get rid of the modifier. You can do the same with cycles if you don't want. Just close it. You will get rid of the modifier. So there is no easy option as in, like infinity per se in what we have in Maya. The same thing, we don't have it in Blender over here, which is a bit of a headache. But if you want cycles, you can always go to modifier and give yourself a cycle over there. So right now I don't want that. I'm just going to loop this animation from here. So I think that pretty much covers everything in the graph editor that you need to know for animating this. Obviously, there's a lot more, and obviously there are a lot of people who can teach you better always. But this is what I know for sure, and this is what I'm teaching you. So there you go. You have your animation over here. You know how to render your animation. I've taught you that. And I think we can pretty much move on to Q&A session now. This is the animation that I wanted to teach you, and I've done it. So I guess you can put your questions on the chat, or you can raise a hand and ask a question directly through audio if you want. No one, that cannot be possible, man. Come on. Someone.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like how to snap the objects in the, like when you were moving a cube, how to snap it while moving it. Rotation and moving it.
Yeah, you want to snap the, for example, you want to step rotate it, or you want it to snap to an object.
Right.
You want to step rotate it or something like that, right? Okay, we can do that. Let me just save this. Same thing, file save as, everything else is same. Sorry, I didn't show you how to save your file. So you can go save as and say masterclass output and save as. That's it, you're done. So let me open up a new Blender and hold this up over here. Shift A, we have a cube. All right, that's it. Let me go to the rotation over here. So what you can do is, once you have your manipulator, you can press Control and do it. So once you have control, no, that literally means you have a control over a rotation. Now it's step moving right now. All right. Or if you are say moving it and you want slight movements, you know, you don't want it to like go crazy, you want slight movements, what you can do is press G, define the axis which you want to, by middle mouse button, define the axis, whichever axis you want it to go, leave the middle mouse button, and you can see it's free flowing right now. All right, it's moving really fast. So you can press shift and move it. Once you press shift and move it, it will start going really slow. So you'll have a control over it. And then you click and leave it. Now it'll be there.
Okay.
Did that help out, or you still not clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No, that is clear. And
So
is
if you
there any
press
way
control,
to like?
yeah. So if you press control and move also with the manipulator, it will start snapping. You know, per grid say. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we had some questions over here in chat. One second, let me just screen share. Stop the screen share. So here, okay. Yeah. Sorry. What do you? Okay, so Mulkit asks, as I'm starting with 3D animation, what do you recommend to patch with Blender or Maya? Mulkit, unmute and ask me this question. Let me just understand what the gist of what you're trying to say.
Hello, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Hello. So my
yeah.
question was like, just as you know, I'm just starting with the animation, the 3D animation part, and I know about graph editors and other things because I have earlier studied it a bit, but now I want to use it for my personal work. So, what do you prefer me to start as a basic software? Like, should I go with Blender or Maya? Because Blender has its own qualities and Maya somewhere differs in it. And the question is also about the availability of resources like the rigs, the necessary skills or the tutorials.
Yeah, I get it. See, the point is, if you learn Blender, then everything you do can be used in, you know, like you can create your own movie and monetize on it. Nobody's going to ask you a question, right? But if you take up Maya, Maya has student license is free. You know, for learning, you can use it, not an issue. But if you go for something commercial, that is, if you want to learn from it, if you want to earn from it, sorry, not learn, if you want to earn money from it, then there's going to be licensing issues. Yeah, for production, it's going to be licensing issues. So for learning, I don't think both of them are good. But industry application, Maya has a lot of, you know, like in terms of say finding jobs, Maya is better.
Yeah.
But if you want to do something of your own, you want to create a small movie, small short film, Blender is the best thing that, you know, is there in the market as of now, because it covers, it covers compositing, it covers editing, it covers sculpting, you know, texturing, everything, anything you can think of, effects, everything. So maybe limited to a point, but it covers everything. So if you watch that movie that they created in Blender 2.8, it's called Spring.
Yeah.
Just go watch that. It's mind blowing, like what they've done, and it's entirely done in Blender. So there's nothing that cannot be done in Blender, but you know, it's a bit complicated. It has a lot of nodes and everything. I would say keep learning both, because what we did when we started off, right? I think a lot of people here will agree. We started off with one software and we just went towards it. That's it. That's what we did. You know, like we learned Maya and that's it. We forgot about everything else in the world and just learning Maya. And at a point of time, we stopped thinking about anything else. And now that I'm learning Blender, I know how difficult it is for me to learn a new software now. Because, you know, I'm an old dog per se. You know, you cannot teach me new tricks, but I'm trying to learn new tricks as we go.
Yeah.
And it's getting a bit difficult for us. But if you are starting right now, and if you want to learn something, I would say that learn both. You know, but as you said, resources wise, Maya has abundance of resources. So I would say like, focus, you know, like developing your skill in Maya, but also keep yourself, you know, like updated in Blender as in technical per se.
Yeah.
So, you know, like tomorrow, if you have to shift to anything, you can do it without a hitch. For example, I've honed my skill in Maya right now. I know how to animate in Maya well, so I'm using the same creative knowledge and applying it to Blender. I don't feel much. So all the things that I get is only technical hitches.
I got it. But also, like, I had a discussion, like, in the last animation session somewhere, like in Mumbai.
Okay.
So we were discussing about Blender and Krita. Both of
One
them
second,
are
everybody can hear what Mulkit is saying. I've shared computer audio. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Go ahead, Mulkit.
Yeah. So we had a good discussion about the open source software currently in the market. And at that time, when Blender showed up at 2.0, or the 2.8, like 2.8 version, and with the whole 2D animation and 3D animation in the complete software, so people were asking that we should moreover lean towards Blender. But again, the only problem which I faced with Blender was that resources were not that easily available. Also, the tutorials were very less. The instructors were very less. Like, people, whenever I asked my seniors about that, do you know something about Blender, and they are like, no, Blender is like, हम नहीं करते यार, Blender हमारा काम नहीं है, Blender बहुत different software है.
Yeah, it's not robust. Yeah, it's not robust as you say when it comes to resources as compared to Maya. But there's nothing wrong with it. There are people who, for example, see Blender Ninja. There's this guy who makes lazy tutorials. Okay, watch his tutorials. That guy does amazing work for commercials and stuff, all in Blender. So you cannot blame a software. I'm actually quite disappointed that people still ask this question, because that is the level of like education that is going in the market. By Indian institutes. They always stress too much on the softwares and like not on the trade, not on the skill, but too much on the software.
On the skill.
I keep telling people stop asking this question, but I know as a beginner you will have these questions, and
that's the first thing which pop up to your mind.
That's the first thing that pops up in your mind, and nobody stops you, right? Like where you learn traditionally, nobody stops you from asking this question. That is that's the sad part of it. But I get it. Like that's why people like me, a few more other people who keep doing this kind of stuff to like encourage people to ask the questions that matter. Not just मेरे को कहाँ job लगेगा, how much salary will I earn, or which company is like. So let's not just keep on to that. Let's just like as a group, let's work to be a better artist.
We will be like focusing over our skills moreover, but the software is just as a tool. We can work on Maya or Blender anywhere, but just focus on the skills of animation.
Okay, guys, this meeting will end in 10 minutes. I guess Mulkit, I have to cut you short. Let me give chance to anybody else who have a like a question over there. So anybody else who has question? Okay, so I've seen Dinesh is okay with it. Ayyappan is fine. Shweta, you have something to ask? Shweta,
no,
Akhil.
Nothing else but that was now.
Okay, Akhil, you have any questions? See, there are no stupid questions. Okay, there really are no stupid questions. The only questions that you don't ask are the stupid questions.
Vignesh?
Yeah,
I have a question. I'm currently learning Maya. Like I'm learning the basics of animation from Aaron Blaise and his creature.
Excellent person. Yes, master guy. Yes.
So it works. So what I'm asking is, I couldn't find any resources to learn 3D animation right from the beginning. So I'm just learning from the YouTube tutorials.
Okay.
So do you know any places where best place to learn animation online, which is both affordable and best in training?
I would suggest you Native Puppets. Native Puppets online school. That is, that's totally Indian, and the people who teach are industry professional. They're not someone who like studied there and became faculty there only. There's no such bullshit as that. So they make professional videos. I know this because I have made videos for them. I have taught mentored people over there, so I know how professional their setup is. So that is something that is affordable and good, that I can suggest.
Okay.
So I would say learn from them, and also if you could find, say, software, like some tutorials in Udemy and all that stuff, if you want, you can do that. Go to Skillshare, take a membership in Skillshare. You can learn from there. Take a 2 months free trial in Skillshare and see if you find something that is useful for you. But if you want to learn professionally and if you want a cost efficient option which is good as well, I would suggest go to Native Puppets, because everything else is in dollars and it's like really crazy out there, man. And the way the dollar is converting into Indian rupees as of now, I mean, that's as Indians, we're all screwed, man. And people who don't earn much, people who are students, no, that's simply not an option.
Okay. So one more thing is that I want to work in Pixar and Disney. So how realistic is that goal?
It's very realistic. People who say otherwise, just tell them to go to hell. Seriously, man. It's very realistic.
Okay.
I mean, there's no discouraging. And obviously, you can ask me, so tu kyun nahi gaya? You can seriously ask that question. Why are you not in like DreamWorks or Pixar? The point is because I met people who said that's not possible. I met stupid people who said that's not possible. It's not a realistic goal. Idiots everywhere, man. Okay, just because they couldn't crack it, you cannot. That's not the point. See, like I showed you in the beginning of the video. I don't know if you were joined at the beginning of the video. I showed you how to match the timing with a bouncing ball.
Okay.
Yeah, if you for a run timing, you can use a box, or let me just show you one thing really quick. I think I have it over here. Attitude walk.
I saw that one of your posts.
Yeah, 1 second. So for example, this is what I made. I think this is what you're referring to as well, that you saw in my post. So
yeah,
if you can do this and create an attitude, DreamWorks and Pixar will take you. Trust me.
Okay.
And if you're in student level, it's much more easier for you to get in than after like you come to our experience level. Because for us, for our experience, they demand something totally else. But if you can do this, I'm sure you can get it. You can crack into their internship. Pixar announces internship every year, and don't just worry that if you don't get it in first attempt, go get into some good studio. Okay, keep working on your reel, keep progressing. One fine day they will take you if your work is good enough. But don't worry, keep applying. Apply everywhere, man. Okay, apply everywhere. We limit ourselves. Okay, I look at people who got into Pixar, who got into DreamWorks, and their reel is really bad than what my first reel was. Okay, but the point is they had the confidence and the encouragement and the guidance for people to tell them and go apply there. We didn't have that. Okay. So that is the difference. That is the only difference. And let me tell you, also research. Pixar and this thing is not the only like top notch in companies up there. There is Animal Logic. There is Blue Sky Studios. There is I can't just name on top of my so many Illumination Studios. There's so many of them. Right? Just do a research. Go and deep dive. There's so many studios that will take you as an intern. But you need to be prepared and you need to get down to their level. You need to find out, Veda Digital, for example. You need to find out what they want and give them that, right?
Okay. Yep.
If the industry is demanding acting shots and you are good at animating, body mechanics, obviously they're not going to take you because you're good at body mechanics. You have to be, like an all-rounder in all fields. Do your best in whatever you do. Keep your reel concise, short, and put your best work in. Don't put all of your work. Put your best work, the best of the best work, the first. Okay, because people don't have time there. They'll only look at like 10 seconds of your work and decide if you're worth it or not. Okay, so put your best foot forward, your best work in your reel. Don't keep like main apna best work for the last in the bang rakhunga. No, don't do that. Your best work first. Okay. do that. I'm pretty sure some of the other will pick you up. There's a lot of demand for animators, good animators, I'm saying.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, keep your attitude positive, man. Keep your attitude positive. That's everything in life. So we have like 2 minutes, 3 minutes left. Anybody else have any question before this auto closes?
So Vignesh, actually, yeah. So now we were talking about DreamWorks and Pixar for intern person. So can you just explain about a senior guy or a junior guy who is already working in TV shows, who just wants to get into movies? So basically, yeah, you know about me. So I just wanted to do that.
It won't be that easy for us to crack in, say, because we are already have learned something. Okay, we have to unlearn that, and that is very difficult. So when I'm not working anywhere right now. A lot of people of you know, so people who don't know, let me tell you that I'm not working anywhere. I'm doing some freelance work, and I'm actually focusing on my animation. That's why you find so many LinkedIn posts and so many Instagram posts of my animation, because I'm getting that time to do it now. So when I started, just a second. Yeah. So when I started that, my main goal was to forget what was taught to me in my previous company, the way I used to work. I had to unlearn everything to learn something new, right? That is the process that will be difficult for you. If you can do that successfully and make a reel, I'm pretty sure that they will take you. But you cannot directly step into Pixar. I mean, you have to be exceptional at what you do, but you cannot directly step into it. Make sure that you find a place where they work on movies. Go there first, work on feature films, and then once you get the experience, you can then tell them that, oh, I'm not just coming from a TV series background, I'm coming from a feature film background. So you can probably like adjust me somewhere as a junior, and always keep looking for vacancies. That's all. The vacancies there, it's very tough to find vacancies over there. Exactly. So I think in some time this is gonna end. I would say that you guys rejoin so we can have a proper goodbye session and a little more of conversation before we wrap this whole thing up. So anyways, as we started at 4 o'clock and it's 5:15 right now. So this is going to shut down at any minute. Just come back again once. We'll like say a proper bye bye. I'll take a screenshot to shamelessly promote myself, and after that probably I'll let you guys go. I think we have one more of a chat. Yeah. Any minute now. Any minute. So yeah, the turnout is really good, man. I didn't expect these with me for this while. Yeah, any more questions? Questions, guys? Any more questions you guys have?
Is there any age limit for the
I can't hear you. Speak up. Speak up.
Is there any age limit for the internship to the Pixar and DreamWorks?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Is there?
It's not. There's not an age limit, but they are only taking students that are just graduated, like 6 months, in between 6 months after graduation.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm telling you that the only problem that thing is happening is because you've already learned something that they don't have the responsibility to make you unlearn.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, you've already worked in TV series. Now you're screwed, man. Like, because now you have the mentality of giving in quotas, and because we worked in the same company, we know how that things work. But you have the mentality of compromising on quality to give quantity. They don't want that.
Yeah.
So they want to mold you from the very young age. When your mind.
That's the only thing I wanted to ask. Yeah. The same thing I wanted to ask. That's what you just told me that. Yeah.
They want to mold your fresh brains. Okay. Now your brain is already set. So that's what I'm saying. We have to unlearn what we've learned, and that is very difficult, man. Trust me. I quit my job and try to do that. It's still difficult. So think, if you're still in the job doing the same thing and trying to work backwards, which is very difficult. And there's some people who cracked it. I would say Ayyappan, who is here. Ayyappan got into MPC. He's working in feature right now. He used to work in TV series with us, and I'm telling you, it's really difficult to pull off something like that, man. I'm telling you. So yeah, keep
And
working,
also
but
you're
but it's
having
not like all hope is lost. There's nothing as such. Keep working. There was a security guard in Pixar who worked in the VFX of Iron Man 3, Iron Man 3. So yeah, he just learned with his friends. So there is nothing as such. We just need to set our mentality. Anything is possible. So if somebody comes and tells you ye nahi ho sakta, tell him to go. Like go to hell. I don't care. I will do it, right? And I will show you that I can do it. Right, guys.
you're preparing any schedule to hello? Do you
Yeah.
prepare any schedule that you said that you're starting from the scratch, right? The basics you're giving the proper quality. Do you have any proper timetable for this? I have to complete this one with this quality. Do you have any schedule like that? Because I was right now I was quitted the job
Yeah.
there.
1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep speaking. I'm going to edit that part. Yeah, so this is my journal. I keep it with me all the time, and I started this when I quit my job. So let me show you a page out of this. So this is my 100-day plan. All right, and as you can see, I have skipped a few over here. April starts here. So I marked it till here. Uske baad, I was quite busy not to like fill it up. So April starts here. So my goal to get a job is by say April 20th to secure a job, which is not possible at this point of time because of the lockdown and everything. So so yeah, when I quit, I was already working for 5 years. So I had my gratuity with me.
Okay.
All right, and I also had. So the gratuity was quite a good amount because I worked for 7 years in the company, and that is the thing that is keeping me going. Right. So I have a budget and also I have a plan to finish what and what. Obviously, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to be because I had to go to NID, National Institute of Design, for 5 days straight. From morning to evening, I had to take a workshop over there on animation. So that 1 week I couldn't do any animation. So I had to chuck that week off of my deadline. And one other week I felt like some days I don't feel like working. That's true. That happens. Some day you just wake up and you don't want to work. Just don't work. 2 days if you don't work, third day your body, your mind will automatically bring you back to your system. You will start working. Sometimes you get stuck, you get demotivated. It's all fine. There were times when I was depressed at home because I was home alone. My wife will go to work. All my friends will be working. I cannot disturb them. I'm here alone in my house, like a 2 BHK apartment. It's quite big actually. 2 BHK apartment, doing the same thing that I'm doing again and again. It drives you insane sometimes. It's fine. Take a break. Watch a TV series. One whole day, just eat and sleep. Do that. All right. Watch cartoons. Go
Very
outside.
important.
Right now, not right now, but when the lockdown is over, go outside. Have fun. Come back in. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
So Murugan is here. He's also here in this call. He's the one I used to disturb every time when like I get disturbed mentally. I'll just go over him and like. So yeah, I have a plan. I won't say it's an ironclad plan, but it is flexible. But I do have a deadline. Yes. So if that answers your question, so if you want to quit your job and do something like this, first thing you need is money. Okay. Second thing, a spouse or a partner or a or a family member who's supportive of your decision. That's very important. And third thing is you need to fix a deadline for yourself. Once that deadline is over, finish whatever you've done, put it out there, ask for reviews, then come back again and you can start on it later on. But if you put a deadline, be true to it, because then you won't finish, man. Because when you have something at your own hands, you'll keep on working on it, and you'll never be satisfied. So once you fix the deadline, that's it. Move on.
Without deadline, we will be keeping lazy.
It's never finished.
Never end. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any certain topics as a beginner we have to cover? Is it just like a walk cycles like that? is there any particular topic to apply a internship? For example, take the example for the Pixar internship. They have requirements for the portfolio. Just
They
just be like.
actually release a manifesto every year, something like that. Like what are they looking
Okay.
for? All right.
Okay.
I think if you go through that, then you'll be able to find out what it is. But as I'm telling you, the only person I think who's available is probably this guy who has this Nimbus logo on his this thing. I don't know. I can't make out his name. But there's Orko, is Arunava, this guy, this little kid over here who's 13 years old. I'm brainwashing him to go into somewhere good. So I'm pretty sure that his parents will hate me now. But they are the only people who can go to Pixar as interns now.
Like that. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. So I think they are the only people who can go as interns now. So you guys can do is you can get there, but like try for some feature film places before, get your reels right. And for junior position, I'm telling you, mostly they're looking for is flawless body mechanics and a good acting. So if you can get that, in a single shot, very good. You don't have to make, sorry. So you don't have to make two, one body mechanics and one this thing. No, if one shot you can show body mechanics and acting, that will cover everything. Yeah, Shweta.
And also, if you can show really good storytelling in your shot, like that is what the international projects are looking for. You should be a very good storyteller, not just animation, but there should be something that will like connect the audience to your reel. So if you can show that also.
Yeah.
Excellent point. I can't think I forgot that. Yeah, Orko.
I wanted to ask something like after the tutorial you said like you'll send a download link for that robot.
Yeah.
So where's the download link?
Good, smart boy. So let me share my screen over here for a second. You go to cgcookie.com. cgcookie.com. You go to cgcookie.com. You'll find this robot over here. If you go to Blender training and go to resources. Go to resources. This guy over here, this is the robot. Okay. And to get him, you will have to create a free this thing, login inside, free login. Okay. Don't go for free trial and all. Okay. Don't go for there. Just create a login and just download this one for free. You can download 2 resources for free. Okay. And this rig is free. So you can download this. Just make this thing and do that. And also, what's his name? Ayyappan this morning has given me, like a very nice link. I'll share that as well with you guys. Sorry, just bear with me for a minute over here. So if you go to YouTube and type KHEIL animation rig, you'll get this guy. All right. If you go over here, that is how the rig works. This is a video of how the rig is made and all that stuff. So if you go to his description, you will find this Dropbox link to download this. Or you can go to Gumroad and you can download this rig. Just type in here, like 0, because it's a $0 rig and I want this. put your email address and get that rig. Start working on it. Okay, this is also a nice Blender rig. So you can go to CG Cookie, download this robot, and you can also go to Gumroad and Keel Rig and download that as well.
So does this character have facial rigs as well?
Yeah, not the robot, but this character does.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
Are you going to continue taking this session?
No, actually, I'm going to wrap up if you guys don't have any. I mean, sorry. I mean, future. You're asking in future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That depends on the response, and I think the response was pretty good today. So I think, yeah, why not? So you guys want to learn something else? If I can do it for Maya also, because I'm not earning anything from this, so it's quite free. I can actually teach you something if you need it in Maya as well. But yeah, so Ayyappan is sharing something in chat. You guys can take that link for the cloud render. Sorry, I'm sorry, rigs of what he shared. He's sending you a link. Copy that and keep it with you.
Vignesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the body mechanics thing, is it okay if we master the ball bones and the overlapping action?
I didn't get it. Sorry, I wasn't listening. What?
Like,
sorry.
To do good body mechanics shot, like, is it enough if we master the bouncing ball and the overlapping action thing?
No,
the
man.
Principle.
You have to, for body mechanics is a totally different ball game actually. So all the principles that you learn will be applied in that body mechanics some way or the other. The best, I'll tell you, to get a better body mechanics is to start doing pose drawing, figure drawing. Just start learning figure drawing. Okay, there are number of people online who are teaching figure drawing for free on YouTube. You can use their there are videos in which the models have already posed for like certain time period. Follow that and do pose drawing. That is the best exercise for body mechanics out there, I can tell you. So if you want to be good at that, yeah, if you want to be good at body mechanics with the principles and animation and everything, yes, you have to learn to draw pose drawing. Even if it's stick drawing, it is fine. You know what is figure drawing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then just keep doing that. That is the best and easiest way to approach good body mechanics.
Bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what the figure drawing is. What exactly figure drawing is.
Okay, no issues. Don't be ashamed of asking questions, man. Come on. One second, I'll save this. Yeah, so if you want to know what figure drawing is, just go to YouTube and type figure drawings or pose drawing. So they take a model, okay, they take an image or a live model. I would say start with images, but live images. No, don't look at other people's 2D work and try to copy that, because they've made some mistake. You'll take that and make more mistakes. So it's better to watch tutorials and then take a image of models and then start drawing them. So this is just a drawing. So once you go and do some research on internet on your own, I'm pretty sure by like browsing in 20 minutes, you will come to know what figure drawing is and how it's done. So there is this master guy known as Glenn Vilppu. If you could get your hands on his tutorials, that will be awesome. But if not, then there's Michael Matassi. I'll type it in the chat. There's Glenn Vilppu. Sorry. There's Michael Matassi. These guys are pretty good, okay, at what they do. They're all gesture drawing people and all that stuff. So if you get their tutorials online, or if you get them from some friends of yours, it'll be awesome, man. There's a friend of mine, Rajesh Kalayadappu, who follow him on Instagram. He also posts gesture drawing tutorials and videos and all that stuff recently. So if you guys want, I can actually ask him to take a session on 2D drawing, gesture drawing and figure drawing, if you guys are interested in that. He's a good friend of mine, and I can arrange for that if you guys are into it. So awesome. That guy's work is pretty cool, man. Let me just show you. Rajesh. Yeah, I don't think he has. Yeah, I don't think he's posted up any of his 2D drawings yet, but just check him out in Instagram, Rajesh Kalayadappu, and look at his work. And I can arrange him to take a free session just like this to teach you guys how to do basics of gesture drawing. Right? Yeah. Anything else, people? Any other question? Not just related to Blender, not related to industry, related to something if you want, or we can wrap this up. It's been 1.5 hours, and frankly, I'm hungry. Just to latest animation. Oh, okay. So Jonas wants to know if how much time my sequence took. So if you guys are like, okay, you don't have any questions, people who want to leave can leave. It is not rude anymore for you if you want to cancel out. But this guy wants to know that the chase sequence that I did, I put it in LinkedIn. How much time did it take? What was the process and all that stuff? So I think in 5 minutes I can explain that what goes on. So yeah, that took me 2 months, give or take. I started with storyboard, with concept thumbnailings to storyboard, then move on to animation and everything. So this is over here. So yeah, so I started with storyboards like this. So there was this lip shot there, which I edited because it was taking too much time and reducing the pace. These camera angles are not final. These are because I am bad at drawing 2D angles. So these are very basic camera angles. So this is how I did. I did the storyboard first, even though it was really bad, but it did help me in some manner. Okay, and after that, I went to my layout stage. If you can see, there are scenes over here. I went to layout. If I go to edit, I have my layout edit over here. So this was my layout edit, and this is how the layout went. Right now he doesn't have no canister. There are no poses. It just keeps on going like that. And if you see the run cycle is very slow. It's very jerky because it was just I made a run cycle and I just put it in. So I hadn't cleaned it up yet. So everything is slow. You can see that if you look at the output that I put in LinkedIn, if you look at this, the whole pace of the shot is really slow. So I had to figure out a way to make this fast. And if you look at this shot, this is way too long in layout. It is like, it goes like some 800, 900 frames or something. It's really long. It looks like 700 frames over here, 800 frames. So yeah, so I had to, so when I showed it to my mentors, who I look up to, who I ask, doubts and who I ask about industry and all that stuff, those people, they said that this looks very slow, man. You have to find a way to cut short it. You have to find a way to give it that effect that, like he's running for his life. There is a bunch of man-eating creatures behind him, that hurry you need to bring it in. So I think I tried to manage it a bit in the blocking stage. This is the blocking that I did.